Ken Rutkowski, we are back, and this is the Voice of Disruption, where we learn about things that are disruptive in the world. I want you to meet Bibop. Bibop Gresta.
Hi.
Gabrielle is what his mother calls him. Am I wrong? Or did your mother call you Bibop?
My mother called me Gabrielle when she speaks to me, and I ate it.
But Bibop,
You know that.
Bibop is the name that everyone knows you as, and you've owned that name for how many years?
Forever.
You're right.
Yeah.
In
Even
Italy,
my mother called me Bibop.
You're from Italy.
I'm from
and
Italy.
you started off in the entertainment industry, right?
I didn't.
What did you do in Italy in the entertainment space?
I was randomly catapulted into the entertainment industry because I did a record, and when I was 18 I played in a club, and there was a DJ there, Albertino, and he's a famous radio DJ, and he said I wanted to produce that song. And then we became very popular very quick.
Very popular.
Yeah.
And not just for music, but as a TV personality.
Then after doing 21 records and 6 hit the top 10 chart, then they offered me a TV show. At the beginning was a video game show in 1992. Imagine, a video game show. It was never even possible to think in TV.
Yeah, but one
did
show
it.
turned into how many shows?
In 7. So we did a lot of TV, even a daily show. It was, it was a full-time job.
You're in Italy, you're this big TV star, life is big, life is great, but you decided to even up your game even more.
Yeah, because I understood that I wasn't controlling anything. Basically, they were using me. I wasn't that big of I was at the level that people stops you and say, and they say another name. So that level of celebrity.
But they knew you.
They knew the pace, and then they say someone else.
They weren't sure if you were that criminal they saw on television or the entertainer. Right, I got it.
So at that point, I realized that I wanted to do something that I can control, and I created Bibop, the company.
The Bebop from your name.
From my name. And it was a company at the beginning. It was consultancy for this thing that was coming called Internet.
1990.
5. Yeah.
That's about when I met you.
Yeah.
Right there, as you started all this, the internet was, Microsoft came out with Windows 95.
Right.
Internet Explorer was about to pop. Mozilla was the tool.
Trumpet, Windsock, and still we are one
Archie,
step before.
Jughead, FTP.
Right.
Okay, we just
So we
dated
were
ourselves.
there. And Telecom Italia saw me at an event. I was called in an event speaking about what was this internet, and I brought my website. It was the big gigabutton non-virtual that doesn't do anything.
It did nothing.
It was a
good.
button. It was a button
good.
that people can press and then write comments. And at that time, it was incredible because I've had like 200,000 comments from all over the world. And
That's
people
pretty
was
cool. That's pretty cool.
astonishing, right? And and then Alpha World. It was a 3-dimensional world before.
I remember that.
Right?
I remember that. That was all you. But you were cutting edge. You were cutting edge at that time.
Yeah.
Bebop, the company, actually grew.
Started to explode. Yeah. We've had 56 clients the first year. And I did 8 billion lira of revenues.
Which means what, $30, $40?
No.
I don't remember what a lira converts to.
Probably $2 billion.
$2 million?
Yeah, it was already a lot.
That's a lot of money in Italy.
I started to hire people. It was growing. And Telecom Italia came to me and said, I have to launch my internet. And everybody was going into these kind of things. I said, no, let's create a club, ClubNet. Where it was represented by Alice, this beautiful girl that we selected. And of course, in Italy, when you put a girl with big boobs, you get...
Everything worked for you.
Everything works. 3.5 million people subscribed to the service.
was probably the first.
Well, of course, even if it was the competitor. But it worked. And Telecom, a year after, 1998, offered me a gigantic amount of money to buy 40% of my company.
And you did it?
Oh, yeah.
You did it.
All
of a sudden, now you have a lot of money.
All of a sudden, I'm 28 and I freaking nailed it.
Yeah.
And what
But you're
I
not
did,
done.
no,
You're far
because
from it.
yeah, I'm far from it. It was the start of
You
everything.
ended up creating another company called
Digital Magics.
And Digital
So-
Magic, by the way, I want people to understand something. This is Bebop, who's hanging out with us. We just call him Bebop, like Charo. He has one name, Bebop and Oprah. But Digital Magic, the magic about your company was the culture.
Yeah.
How many employees?
At the end, if you consider also the investment, because at the beginning we were like the Borg. We were buying planets and assimilating it for the Star Trek fans. But then we realized that that was not really a good model. So because we don't create value, we lose value by
right.
absorbing all these companies. So we resplitted. We discovered to have 11 companies already, okay? Put in charge, at the beginning we were finding CEOs and sticking them into the companies. Then we realized it doesn't work like that. So the start of the startup ecosystem started in Italy like this, because there was no
You
startup.
started the whole concept.
Yes, we started the whole concept.
Digital Magic became a family
Right, an incubator, the first prototype of incubator, basically.
in Italy.
So in Italy. So we started to give money to someone else, like the entrepreneur, and to actually allow them to run with their company,
Got it.
taking a stake. And that started to grow. The total conglomerate was more than 1,000 people.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Something you would do is you would make sure that fun was part of the core of everything.
100%,
Right?
always.
Really
in my life.
important.
Yeah.
How did you get 1,000 people to always want to have fun but work at the same time?
It's about, I think, empowering people, being able to actually be a mirror, not someone that actually teleguide the person, but there's a Greek terminology, it's called maieutic, to be able to actually bring the best out of the people that you deal with. And that was our job. It seems simple, but it's not. But we did it really well, and people feel in charge and empowered what they do. They strive.
And that happened.
Yeah.
Italy is not known for high tech.
It's the opposite. The only thing that we had as a primate, of course, is mobile phones, because that's fashion.
Yes.
Italy has 62 million people and 120 million mobile phones.
It was 2 phones for everybody, like you personally right now.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, you have 2 phones.
And all my assistants then.
But you learned to capitalize that mobile market.
Yes.
And you joked around earlier, Berlusconi, who became the prime minister, the president of the country, he was your competition
Yeah.
in multiple ways. He actually saw you as an enemy, not a frenemy, but an enemy.
True, but it's also true that I built, they came to me with his right arm to build his internet presence. So it was crazy because I was competing with him, but in the same time I was managing all their biggest websites in TV, political. So that's a bit of a contradiction, but he's a smart man.
But there's a reason why I'm saying this is because you've gone against brute force competition.
Yes.
To where it's not about becoming a better company, it's about destroying you.
Yeah.
And you have found ways to get around that.
Yeah.
Right? You're resilient. You're a complete optimist, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you have to.
Well, I don't know.
Life is beautiful.
I understand that, but there are certain people that I would like to have as pessimists working for me. Let me give you an example. A pilot. I want my pilot to be a pessimist, not an optimist, right? I think I can get over that mountain. Or my accountant. I want my accountant to be a pessimist, not an optimist.
Okay,
right?
good point. But I think with optimism, you want your accountant to be realistic, not pessimistic.
I get it, but you don't want them optimistic. Like, oh, no problem.
You
We're
can be
never gonna get
realistic
audited.
and optimistic, I think.
Bebop Gresta is joining us. So, Bebop, we are going to get to how you're changing the planet through transportation, but I don't want to go there yet. You were a homeless millionaire for a while.
Yeah.
People need to understand that it sounds like an oxymoron, but you were rich, but you didn't have access to your money.
Yeah.
You ended up selling a lot of the shares of your company and you moved to the United States. And in the process, you were almost held hostage when you came here. What happened?
So it's a freaking crazy situation that I don't think I'm the only one that experienced that. But when you have companies listed in a stock exchange or you're dealing with finance, you are actually dealing with titles that entitle you for a lot of money, stocks. But in reality, this thing has to get liquid to actually be able to.
Someone has to buy it,
right?
Because you're selling it. If no one's there to buy it, it's just there in paper.
The problem is sometimes they find a way to put locks in these stocks, and they lock you in, especially when you do an IPO, and this IPO is made in a restricted market. They want to be sure that you don't run away with money. So it's not always made against you. It's also to guarantee the stock owner. But in that particular case, I think I've had a lot of resistance from my partners to actually embrace my dream that was coming to America and become international.
They were not happy.
Well,
so you left, you moved to the States, and you basically said, I'm going to disrupt myself. You found a way to get one of the coolest houses in Santa Monica, turn it into your office for free, which blew my mind. Come on, that was great. But then you lost that, and you didn't have a car. LA's a big city. You're a multi-millionaire on paper. You're going from meeting, you're broke. You're going from meeting to meeting in Los Angeles on a
bike.
A bicycle. You're biking everywhere to high-end meetings. People didn't know this about you, but you would never accept things from people. You did this all on your own. Do you think that was a smart thing? Do you think it was part of your conditioning?
That was the best thing that can happen to me at that, because I was 40. I was in the right, and I'm 27, so it's incredible.
I know, it's amazing.
Amazing. No, I was 40. It's the best thing that can happen to you, because in the moment where you need to grow and actually you are in a situation where everybody around you tells you how good you are, you're amazing stars, and everybody loves you, in reality, you need to focus on your growth and what is the next part of your life.
That's what you did.
Where do you, and that's what I did. And having nothing basically available brings your superpower out. And that's the best thing, because I try to do 1 hour and 40 minutes from downtown to your next appointment and arrive there looking like...
You look great.
You
did.
Exactly.
It always blew my mind.
Right? It's
and you never would tell people that that's what you're doing. And you weren't a typical Italian. You were on time. You were on time, which always blew my mind. Bibop, Gresta, Bibop, again, was what we call him. When we come back, we're going to dive into this whole idea of how you're disrupting the planet and how the lessons you've learned from feuding with Berlusconi, you're now doing at a global level because you have every form of competition against you. Before we break real quick, you're in Los Angeles now, but this year so far, how many different cities do you think you've been in? How many countries?
60 countries.
This year so far?
Yeah.
And you're not done?
Nope.
You live on a plane?
Yep. I live on a plane, and yeah.
And loving it?
Let's say I have to do it. I started to appreciate it because I love everything new and I'm doing it, but if I would choose, I probably now would love to stay in some place, but I can't. It's our moment, it's our windows, and we need to catch it.
Okay.
And humanity needs this.
And we'll find out more about that, okay? Again, when we come back, we'll find out how Bibop is changing the planet. And I'm promising you, this is something you don't want to miss, because what he is going to tell you sounds like it's out of Star Trek. Bibop, Ken Rutkowski, voice of disruption. We'll be right back.